Sean's not.
Hey, Sean, how are you? Nice to meet you. You bet. You guys all good?
Yeah.
Good, Coach.
Disappointing the loss, no doubt. We did think there were some positive things, and we pointed those out as well. But I don't know. I'll give you my notes from my team meeting Friday. Good. Thought we played really hard. Competitive spirit we really liked. Thought we were physical up front on both sides, which is encouraging. Even the big plays they had, only one of them were like a big hole in our defensive line. The others, we missed tackles in the secondary. I thought we played pretty good up front on both sides of the football, which we're excited about that. Made a lot of good plays. We actually did some things we wanted to do going into the game. 25 first downs to 16. We felt like we needed to control the ball because they were very explosive. Time of possession, almost 38 minutes to 22. 10 of 18 on third down. 50 yards and penalties. Really, for game one, that's pretty good in the overall scheme of things. So there were some good things, which I pointed out to the players on Friday. The bad, -2 turnovers. I thought we would turn it over a couple times. Most people do in the driving rain. However, you can't come out on the wrong end of that. Special teams, touchdown and turnover. So really, that's a -2 on special teams. 4 chunk plays, 3 runs, 1 kickoff return. The other thing I was disappointed in, too, is, after the game, I was disappointed in the way we ran the football. We actually had close to 200 yards running the football, but you can't have -45, and that hurt. Anytime, you have those yards or whatever, whether it was the quarterback going down back and falling down or the ball, whatever. I mean, we had to keep the thing moving forward, so that's not good. The ugly from our standpoint was that we have to fix quick is the way we're coming out at the half. Not good at all. And, we've addressed that, tried to address it, and we have to continue to address it and continue to get better because there were games last year. I've always thought if games are competitive and you're in there, the most important part of the game is that first 5, 6, 7 minutes of the third quarter. I mean, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. We went in, we were down 20-7. We'd already given up 3 turnovers. Ain't a whole lot went good for us, and yet, we're up against a team that's, for a reason, is picked to win their division of the American. Got a pretty good football team, and to me, we're right there. And all right, great, but then we don't come out with the same competitive spirit to start the second half as we did the first half, and then you look up, and 5 minutes later, same thing happened at App. If y'all remember, we're down 10 at the half. I mean, I think they got the best team in the league. I feel good about the whole situation. Yeah, we're right in there, and they drive down and score. We go 3 and out. They drive down and score again, and you're down 24. What happened to us the other day? 20-7 in 5 minutes turned to 30-7, and then But like I said, to our kids' credit, hey, we hung in there and played, and we got an onside kick at the end of the game to try to get the ball back. But we have to correct that. We're not doing very well coming out the half. Some stuff, we changed a few things. It still didn't work, and we have to continue to do that because these competitive games against good teams, I mean, you got to do better, coming out at the half in terms of doing that. So, again, all in all, disappointed, sure, in the loss, but there are some good things. And, from our standpoint, we definitely have a better football team than what we did, but we're not quite where we want to be. At least at this point, so we got to get better at that. In terms of us, before I get to Florida State, we actually came out of the game for a first game, and for those kind of conditions, I thought pretty good from an injury standpoint. We did have 3 guys leave the game. R.J. Turner left the game. I think he's going to be fine. I'm not sure about this week, but he basically took a direct hit on the knee with the helmet, and so it's more of a bruise than it was the ligament damage, but obviously very sore. Cortez Cisco came out with a hamstring, and Ty Shelby came out with a shoulder. I think they both have a shot this week, and we actually gave the kids off a little bit. We don't have an open week till after week 10, so we sort of treated this a little bit. We brought them up Friday and watched the film and did some stuff or whatever. Gave them a couple of days off. They're coming back today, lifting weights, doing Florida State game plan, which is kind of a normal week for us. And so anyway, some of them got to go home, but the ones that are hurt did not. So those kids have been up here, and I've kind of watched their progress. And I think Keaton Baggs has a chance this week. Could have played last week. I didn't want necessarily. We kind of talked about it. You know, your first game back from ACL, when you've only got to scrimmage a little bit. That really wasn't the conditions to do it in. Austin Vaughn actually practiced last week. I think he's got a chance. Marcus Hubbard practiced last week. Green jersey, no contact. I think he's progressing along. I think Logan Lattin will get out and practice this week. Probably another week away. Tyler Lamb is still probably a week or two away from doing that. So we're making progress. On the injury front, I said first game, I don't want to get into Memphis's injuries, but, for first game, we came out a lot better than they did, and stuff. So I think that's that was a positive for first game. And I watched some games here, Saturday, and then watched a little bit last night, and it just seemed like there's a lot of kids coming out of games and stuff. So I think all in all, that was we're pretty positive about that. We're obviously playing a really good football team, just extremely talented and stuff. So the thing that's I'm really, really, really disappointed that I am personally that Francois got hurt. I hate to see kids get hurt. There's just so much time that these kids invest throughout the course of the year, and it just it breaks my heart to see kids get hurt. And but he's a young kid. Hopefully he'll come back and continue to have a great career. Not sure. I know Blackman's behind it. Constantino's behind them, and the thing about it is, when you look them up, they're both 5-star guys. So I imagine they'll be okay. With guys that are coming in. They'll be talented guys. So we know that. But defensively is where they really stand out, where you really watch them and look at them and see the way they run and see the way they play the game. It's really impressive. Not only very well coached, play extremely hard, good tacklers, run of the football, bad intentions when they get to the football. I mean, all the things you want out of a defense. The other thing, too, that's impressive is when you really break their defense down and you look at them from last year and then you look at them again this year and you watch their players, if you were going to draw up a defense in your mind, and this is what I want the positions to look like. That's what they look like. I want thicker guys in the middle at tackle. Not necessarily as athletic, but thick. There they are. Okay, I want them a little longer on the edge with longer arms and longer whatever. There they are. I mean, you put them in positions all the way down to even the way their secondary is built. I want safeties that are a little thicker and a little bit more physical and whatever, and they got them. I want corners that are a little longer and a little rangier. They got them. So if you put them up and draw up the 11, and in your mind, if you go out and recruit and you have a picture of who you want at positions, they got them. And so anyway, it's really impressive to look at it. So we obviously know it's a huge challenge, in terms of what we're trying to do and to go play a football team of that magnitude. But what we have to do, and what I'm going to tell the guys today is this is my today stuff. So it's no secret. It's kind of what I've done in most every game I've played in of these, which we have experience in these at McNeese, and did very well in some of them, and a couple of them we didn't. But number one, I think you have to embrace the stage, which we're going to preach to the guys. I mean, anybody's a competitor. You want to play on the biggest stage as you can. Well, you got a shot this week, so embrace it. Second thing is, I've always preached, like I said, regardless of the games we played last year, or if I was at McNeese and we played Nebraska and we played whoever, you got to play harder than they do. If you don't play harder than they do, you have no shot. So our goal is to go out and play harder than they do. Third thing is we want to make sure that we do exactly what we do. We're not going to do anything any different. We're going to do exactly what we do. And two reasons. Number one, that gives you, I think, a chance when you do what you do. Number two, you have an opportunity to improve if you do what you do. If you go invent something and, we got to do this, and all of a sudden we're going to become a 5 wide out team this week because whatever, you have no Number one, it's not what you do. It's not what you practice. Number two, you have no chance to get better. And then the last thing is, I always preach to our guys, and I'm going to preach to them today too, we have to leave Tallahassee a better football team. If we don't, then we've taken a step back moving in the course of what we're trying to do. You should improve from your first game to your second game. So the goal is, and I said, we want to win the game. I don't care whatever. I don't know what the number is on the scoreboard or anything else, but we have to leave a better football team. We have to leave a better football team. And because this is obviously a tough game, but, we have a lot of tough games coming up. And, home opener against Southern Miss. We're right in the conference the next week against Lafayette. We have to leave here a better football team. Tallahassee this week and stuff. So, and again, that's exactly what I've told every team I've ever bought into it. These are the things. These are what we're trying to do. And if you go back and look at the games where I came from that we had success, or I bet you, I haven't seen the film. If you go back and look at ULM against Arkansas or ULM against Alabama back in 7 or 8, those things I guarantee you were in play. Played harder than the other team did. Did better what we did than they did what they did. Didn't invent the wheel. Just went out and did what we do, and then that's what we got to do. No question about it. So, lastly, before I turn over the questions, it's Monday morning. Press conference is going to be on Monday mornings. There'll never be any personnel decisions made by Monday morning. I can promise y'all that and stuff. So, we're still in the stage of breaking down Florida State and doing all this and stuff. But, as the week goes on, we'll talk about it. We'll have some conversations tonight. We'll have some conversations tomorrow, kind of see who's hurt, who feels good, who doesn't feel good, and go on from there. So we haven't decided. I ain't even having a conversation about who's going to the quarterback and all that. We ain't even got to that point. I thought they both did good things the other night. I thought Garrett did a lot better early in the game than what Caleb did. If you just go by that, Caleb's first possession, we ran the ball twice and sprinted out one time and didn't block a guy. So I don't know if I'd necessarily go, that wasn't good. And then the next one. So when you go back and look at it, I think you have to look at the whole picture of things. Even, like I said, I think Garrett did some great things, but even one or two of the things that he didn't do so well, maybe it's not his fault either. So you have to grade them and go back and look at it, because not every play a quarterback makes is all his, on him. There's 10 other guys that have to do their job too. They both, I think, we had 4 scoring drives, and they reach in for 2 of them. And but anyway, we'll look at that and, maybe have something similar, maybe not. But we're not going to, as the year goes on, that's not the plan necessarily. We want to go to one guy and then have the next guy ready as a backup. And so just not sure that yet that we're ready to do that yet. So.
Coach, as far as this week goes, what's your goal date for deciding who would start under center for you?
I have no goal or date, to be honest with you. Like I said, we ain't even had a conversation yet. And, we need to, you want to know quicker. We need to know by Saturday. But, we'll try to make a decision before then. But in terms of what we do, like I always say, if you come out and watch us practice, if I named a starter right now, we're not practicing any different. Because I've never been a believer that one guy gets 70% or 80% of the reps and the other guy, because that's just not how you practice anyway. So I'm saying it has nothing to do with anything we're doing today or tomorrow when you look at what we're doing. So I don't think it's that pressing, for us. I know you want to know, and maybe the kids want to know, but what we're doing right now, those two might want to know. But in terms of what we're doing right now, this really doesn't really have a lot to do with what we're doing right now.
Kind of sticking with the quarterbacks, and when y'all put Garrett in there at Memphis Thursday night, you seemed to have kind of an identity. You knew what you wanted to do. You were running the football, some quarterback runs, some screens, and some other things. When Caleb gets in there, I know you talked about his running ability, but it was a little different. What are the things you think Caleb does well that you try to put him in good situations on the field?
I think, Caleb is probably more of an outside runner, so to speak, just because he's a long strider. I think Caleb has a bigger arm, when you sit in the pocket, throwing the ball down the field and doing some stuff. And they're pretty similar, really. I agree. When Garrett got in there, at least the first possession that Caleb got the ball, I mean, that's, you know, you got it at the 1 yard line, you know. So and then the second possession, you know, there were a couple things that didn't, I don't know, it just seemed like we got into a better rhythm because we got a quicker first down with Garrett. We hit the screen. And, you know, but if you go back and leave and look at Garrett's series, that was a 3rd and 11 screen. So we didn't do anything much on first and second down, and then, boy, we hit the screen, and, boy, that kind of got a spark and kind of got us moving. So I think they're both doing good things. They both are pretty similar in what they do. I think that, you know, probably from a standpoint of just playing, Garrett's played more. And, you know, he has a lot of confidence in his ability, and I think you can see that when you get out there and stuff. So, but anyway, like I said, we'll make that decision and look at it. But, you know, we just basically made a decision off week 1 off of what we told them we were going to do. And that's 25 days of practice. And, you know, who graded the best. And so that's what we made the decision off of for game 1.
Do you have a problem playing 2 quarterbacks the whole season, or would you like to eventually start one?
I've done it before, but I'd rather not. To be honest with you, I just think it's, you know, for clarity and for, you know, whatever, I would rather not. I mean, I did it one of the years back in, I don't even remember when it was. We went undefeated that year too, but we had, and it really worked out to our advantage, but we had a kid by the name of Derek Faroux who was very similar to these 2 kids, tough, competitive, played, whatever, and then we had a lefty that could really spin it. And so, you know, that's back when I was doing it too. So always the first series of the second quarter, I'd put him in there, and you really had to have another defense because he could really throw it. And we basically changed from what we do now to more of a drop back, throwing the football down the field and the whole deal. And there for a while, we were the first 6 games we played in, 5 of them we scored a touchdown, 1 of them we scored a field goal in the possession that we changed. And then we would come back in the third quarter, the last possession of the third quarter, and do it again. And it benefited us. But like I said, in this particular case here, I think when 2 guys are similar, you know, the defense really doesn't have to do anything. If I'm a defensive football coach, I'm not scheming either one of them. And I've already asked Collins and Stoker and all of them, what would you do different between, well, I mean, you know, nothing really, because you're not necessarily changing what you do on offense. They can both run the football enough to be effective running zone read stuff. They can both roll out and pass, which you saw them do the other day. They both got outside the pocket and can throw it. They both can throw it adequate enough from the pocket. So it's not really like it's a different game plan. But what I thought was interesting about that particular area, since you asked the question, is it was 2 different game plans. So as long as we could practice it, I knew you had to work it. And it's pretty interesting.
Hey, Coach, as far as Florida State's quarterbacks go, you know, how do you prepare for a guy who didn't even throw a pass in Saturday's game? And you're not the only guy. How much going to put you guys behind the 8 ball?
What we don't necessarily know yet, and we've pulled out some film and stuff and watched high school tape, which we're going to watch a little bit more. And I think the only question I had is on the kid came in at the end of the game the other night, Blackman or whatever. How good a runner, or like, you know, I mean, is he just like an exceptional runner? Francois can run. You know, to me, a lot like Deshaun Watson. You know, when they want to run him, he can run. You know, they try not to run him at times. But I think that was the main thing. I mean, we know that he's 6'5" and whatever, and we know that he's going to be able to throw the football. So we expect them to do what they do. And we just want to make sure that they don't necessarily, you know, I mean, I got home last night because we've had extra time, and there was a team I was watching last night, and the quarterback came out in the third quarter, got hurt, and they put in another kid, a true freshman, and he was an exceptional runner. And it's like the game plan changed, you know, because, I mean, he got outside, and wow, man, that guy can really run. Whereas the kid in before him wasn't really running. He was throwing the football. So that's really kind of, I guess, our only thing, Chris, to be honest with you, that we're looking at is just, you know, do we think the game plan is going to necessarily drastically change? And what we can see so far, we think they're just going to do what they do. You know, okay, here it is, and because I think the skill sets are pretty similar. So that was my only concern.
I think front, they have 3 returning guys from last year. I think they gave them like, what, 20-something points a game. You know, pretty good numbers for a Florida State defense. You know, Coach, you know, when you see stuff like that, what's kind of your plan of attack for Saturday?
Try to get positive yards, get first downs, keep them on the sideline, and just try to move the football. I mean, that's what we got to do. And hey, look, it's going to be extremely tough. Let's say because those guys, they can really play. And, you know, they run so well at every position, and they run so well. They're athletic. They tackle well. They tackle in space well, and I mean, both of them. And I watch both sides of the football, and that with two football teams there with Florida State and Alabama that, gosh, their guys tackle so well in space because you know they're tackling five-star guys too, and they're just dropping them. I mean, you know, in space, you know, they get the ball out there and just, you know, and stuff. It's impressive to watch.
Is it any kind of an advantage kind of playing on a Thursday night in the beginning of the season, to open up the season, and then having maybe 3-4 extra days to prepare for that?
Yes and no. I think it's an advantage that you have a little bit extra time. So, you know, I think it probably helped too in the fact that, you know, we didn't. I don't know, Chris, you were on the boat. Time we got back 6:45 in the morning. You know, so that helps. You know, the fact that wow, you know, you turn around, you know, at least you had a day or two to knock the cobwebs off a little bit because that's getting back late. You know, and if you had to turn around and that was Sunday and everything's going. So I think it helped in that sense too. The thing I guess I don't like about it is I'm a routine guy, and I train teams to be routine oriented, and you know, you do anything, whatever, I get flustered. I mean, I love routines, I love schedules, I love whatever, and we're still not in our routine. So we won't be in our routine until next week, really, you know, and stuff. So the sooner the better. I like to get into, you know, we weren't in routine for week 1, we're not in routine for week 2. So it's not till week 3 that we actually get in routine, you know, and stuff. And, you know, players are fine. You know, flusters the coaches more than the players, probably. So.
You know, Coach, outside of the quarterbacks, you feel like I guess there were some unknowns. Last year they lost, or they're without Dalvin Cook this year, the tailback, and Travis Rudolph this year. Are there some unknowns, I guess, to try to defend against for Florida State?
No, not really. I mean, I thought they were the running backs they put back there were really good. Gosh, I was impressed, and you watch it on tape. I'm impressed with their wideouts when you look at them. I mean, you know, you forget sometimes, and you go play a team like this, and that you know, we have Brian Williams who's that big and looks like, you know, they have 4 or 5 of them. I mean, they're just big guys, and they can run down the field and stuff. And so that's different, I think, you know, when you go. But I know they lost Rudolph, but they got most of the others back. And then running backs look pretty good too. And, you know, I know I forgot his name, but the kid down the road there from Clinton. I mean, we saw him last year. And Akers, yeah. I mean, you know, because, I mean, he was right there. So, I mean, some of the kids we recruited last year, he was playing against and, you know, all that. And he was good, no question and stuff. So, you know, and then he was the third back that they played the other night. So you know, 1 and 2 are good because we know he's good.
Have you coached against Jimbo before, going back to when he was at LSU?
Well, I don't think so. I know.
When you say do what they do, in your mind, then what are the things Florida State's going to want to do?
I think, you know, with Coach Fisher's teams, I always thought he did a really good job of throwing it down the field. And I know when I would go when Coach Collins and he worked together at LSU and he was there, and I saw a lot of practice, you know, just to be honest with you, because, you know, I was intrigued with Nick Saban and was intrigued with just the whole thing and what they were doing and how they were practicing and all that. So I spent a lot of time down there, and what I was always impressed with Coach Fisher and watching him is, you know, they're always going to have a good run game, and he's going to do. The other night he did more 5-man protection stuff than what I've seen him do. Free release the back and get out there. What I always thought he did a great job of was throwing it down the field, and we actually took some of it from him at McNeese and used it, but he's got great concepts of over concepts, I call them, off of play action, you know, where one guy's over, the other guy's coming under, you know, but I always thought he did a really good job. Studied him a lot and Spurrier a lot. I thought they did a great job of throwing it over the top and stuff. So he's always going to have, you know, some stuff like that in there that you know he's going to do. He's going to max protection, and he's going to get those guys running, you know, different levels and stuff. But he's just a good football coach, obviously, and you know, he's there. And I always thought that Randy Sanders was a great football coach, who coached Peyton Manning and all those guys at Tennessee, and I thought was a great play caller at Tennessee with Cutcliffe and all those guys. So, I guess most of it's Coach Fisher, was Jimbo, but, I know that I always see, when you watch Florida State over the last 3 or 4 years, when the quarterback goes to the sideline, I always see Randy Sanders there with the quarterback and stuff. And we spent a lot of time with those guys through the years, like I said. But no, I haven't coached against them, but I've seen a lot of him, and I know that Coach Collins has practiced against him enough, so. I think Mike was there, 2 years? Yeah, at LSU with those guys.
I don't know how much film you got a chance to watch him, but from what you have seen, what makes that safety, Derwin James, so special?
He can, just the ability to run, tackle, tackle people in space. The other thing about him is they did a little bit more the other night is move him around and stuff, and they had him at different positions. And I heard probably what you heard the other night, that it's James that they were saying that could play all 11 positions. But he's just a good football player. I mean, anytime that you get somebody that's that big and that physical and can run the way he runs, he's fun to watch. But yeah, we've watched him a lot. I mean, we've had a lot of time on our hands, and they played 13 games last year. So we've I've watched all 13 multiple times, and I've watched every team that's played them multiple times, and that's what you do in the off season. You watch, and I'm kind of watching differently than like what Coach Collins would watch. I mean, I'm watching I'm watching their offense, and I'm watching the other team's offense, and I'm watching just trying to pick plays and stuff. And now with systems and stuff that you have with our computer system and everything, you can actually, which I've done, I've probably cut 75 to 100 Clemson plays, and I've taken 50 to 75 Florida State plays that I really like, and you categorize all of them and stuff. And so yeah, we've watched a lot of them, and good, really good. So thank you guys, appreciate it. Hope y'all have a good holiday.
Coach, did you watch some of the Texas A&M UCLA game last night?